Hola, buenos días. Soy Nico.
You just don't get it.
And today we're here to finish off another wonderful week's worth of content. Well, yes. Nico, what happened to Wednesday's video? Someone reported it. It was actually tackling a very serious subject that I wish I could have properly done. But if you want that video, it is on Patreon. It is an exclusive. I'm not going to get a strike on my channel just because I wanted to talk about someone committing a crime for content, because it's wrong and it needs to be put on blast so this person is held accountable. But if you're interested in that story, it is the Patreon exclusive. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, hi, welcome in, sit on down. Today we're going to be having a conversation that's not necessarily, I mean, it's tea, but it's not tea. You know, I'm actually getting kind of like burnt out on drama, and I wanted to sit down and have an actual conversation again that affects our community. But before that, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for 200 plus exclusive videos that are only on Patreon, including that last one, and to be a part of our live streams where we have multifaceted conversations with a varied panel depending on the week. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely tune in. And last video's comment was essentially saying how someone wants to stop using hookup apps, but they use the hookups whenever they feel lonely or whenever they feel lustful. But the problem is, hookups are good for lust. I'll be honest. If you want to just get it out of the system, if you want to just have a one and done, boom, bam, you're done, that is what a hookup is for. But when you're trying to solve, quote unquote, your loneliness problem, hookups are not going to help with that. If anything, I feel like they exacerbate the situation, meaning if you hook up with someone because you're lonely, you're probably going to be just as lonely, if not more, once they leave, because you had to give someone access to you just to have their company. But before I get too deep into that conversation, let's move on to today's topic. Today's topic is about how our humanity is consistently devalued to a fetish. And this is a conversation that I wanted to have because I saw a tweet going around where a Latino man named Edgar came online and posed the question, "I've never slept with a black person. Am I missing out?" Now, if you don't know what's wrong with that question and or statement, I will gladly, continue to explain to you. But it is essentially saying black people are a sexual experiment. Am I missing out by not trying it? Kind of like Phaedra when she touched that dancer's skirt and she was like, that's fun, that's interesting. And she walked on about her business. That is essentially what it's boiling down to, devaluing a group of people into only their bodies. Luckily, the comments were lighting him up and explaining to him that black people aren't an experiment. It's either you're attracted to black people or you're racist. Nico, what do you mean? A lot of people say that they have preferences. A lot of people say that their preferences are, I'm open-minded, but I just prefer what I prefer. A preference is, I prefer an apple, but I will have a banana because I'm in the mood for a banana. It is not saying this entire racial group of people are unattractive and I will never interact with them. Okay, now that we got the preference conversation out of the way, let's continue. As the commentators continue to try to combat the question and see where this person was coming from, he was saying that it wasn't necessarily a negative or a bad thing, and he's even dated one. Dated one what, Nico? Dated a black. He said he's dated a black, but the black that he dated had another boyfriend in a different city, and it was a bunch of drama. And yes, Nico, why do you keep saying the black? Because that's what that means, referring to a black person that you dated as, I dated one, I dated a black. That's what it's boiling down to. And this isn't like a new sentiment within the Latino community. Nico, as someone that has tons of Latino friends, I grew up in Texas, culture, Fetishization is not new. But I also say Other groups can be fetishized as well, because we've seen black men chase after white men or Latino men that are actually blatantly racist, but they give them the pass because that is their quote unquote preference. In this situation, the conversation can go deeper. It's because somebody commented and said, if you want to have access to black men, just be prepared to catch HIV and AIDS. This was another Latino man named Javi. I will be going into detail about Javi's portion right now. Basically, people begin to light him up, exposing how he is not only a thirsty individual who always tries to holler at people and is consistently ignored, but then begin to push him on his racial bias, where he began to say, well, it's strictly statistics. You know, why are y'all mad at me? You're saying you're going to screenshot me being racist and send it to my job and ruin my life versus black people spreading HIV. So as someone who always comes online, I always teach you the importance of sexual health and sexual safety, especially because, in my own belief, your sexual health is your responsibility only. People lie, people will do things sneakily, people will try to get access to you without actually knowing their own status. At the end of the day, you are responsible for your sexual health. That's why I always come on here and tell people you need to get tested every 3 to 6 months if you are having unprotected super happy adult fun time. If you are, you should get on PrEP. Nico, what is PrEP? It is an HIV preventative that I have been on since I was 19. Nico, that's 10 years. I've been on PrEP since I was 19, and I will tell you this. When I worked with the University of Texas, UT Health, and I was going out trying to get black and brown people into an HIV preventative measure. Nico, what does that mean? I was working with the people that were doing the injectable preps. I was actually getting people to join for the labs to see who wants access to a 6-month injection versus a daily pill. And I will say, when I would go to black bars, they would dismiss me. Black people, black gay men, especially in Houston, when asked about PrEP, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm safe. I protect myself. And when you look at the statistics, 1 in 2 every gay black man will catch HIV. 1 in 2. But I am also going to bring the statistics for the Latino community, because what he failed to realize is that 36% of the new HIV infections since 2022 has been for the Latino community. Nico, and 35% for the black community, meaning that even though it is only 1%, you are most likely to catch HIV from an unprotected encounter with a Latino man. And that's also because Latino is an umbrella. There's Afro-Latinos, there are white Latinos, there are indigenous Latinos. So it's a large group of people, usually diverse in culture, diverse in race, but at the end of the day, you are more likely. So when people come here and they try to make black people the face of HIV, I never personally understood it, because the only racial groups that have very low statistics are white and Asian men. And the reason that is because they have more access to sexual health. Nico, what do you mean? White and Asian men, because they usually intertwine, the gay community wise at least, have access to insurance, have access to PrEP, have access to Doxy PrEP. I know. I worked with UT Health and I also looked up the statistics. So when we look at that, I never understood why there was such an infighting between black and brown people on who's going to catch HIV and who's sick and who's dirty. And I'm like, girl, at the end of the day, we all need to improve our sexual health. We all need to be getting tested. And it's so terrifying, because I have people in my personal life who I'm like, okay, yeah, girl, go get it, go get it. Yeah, I just had sex with so-and-so. Oh, are you back on PrEP? No, I'm not on PrEP, but I'm going to get back on it. Girl, like, it really does take one time. It really does take one time. And I understand people like to do the argument of, well, I don't want to have to take a pill every day. If you catch HIV, you have to take a cocktail of pills every day for the rest of your life. So as a bitch that's been on PrEP for 10 years, I would rather that, because a lot of people don't understand, though HIV is no longer a death sentence, it still has a lot of health complications. You have a weakened immune system. You are more likely to catch infections and or diseases. Like, it's a trickle-down effect that you can actively prevent if you are just responsible. And responsibility comes in many ways, because like I said earlier in this video, our communities don't tend to have the same access to sexual health, but there usually are outlets. I can at least talk for Houston. If you are in Houston, Texas, you can reach out to Be Busy Wellness Center. That's where I went. They do free STD and HIV testing. You also could get in contact with the Gilead program, who will fund your PrEP. Because here in New York City, I have Medicaid. So I currently get free Doxy Prep, I get free PrEP, I get my free anxiety and depression medication, I get my ADHD medication, but that's because New York is better with universal health care. When we look at the South, it is difficult, but it is not impossible. And that's what I want to continue to preach to everybody on my platform. If you want to take your sexual health into your own hands and be responsible with it, it's there. You might have to jump through a few hurdles, but at the end of the day, you really do only get one body. And this isn't to fearmonger. This isn't to make people who are HIV positive seem bad or dirty or anything like that, because it can literally happen to anyone at one time. It literally takes one time, because I always tell people this story whenever they try to refute it. Oh, I've been in my relationship and oh, my man. One of my close friends from back home, I remember because we were in our early 20s, he was dating somebody and they were having super happy adult fun time and the condom broke. In that moment, he caught HIV because his boyfriend was cheating on him without his knowledge. So it really does take one time, one accident, one slip up, one rush, drunken night. Just protect your body. End of the day. So when we talk about who's more likely to catch HIV, yes, the Black community is small. So 1 in 2 Black gay men will catch HIV in their lifetime. That is a statistic that medical records have proven. But Latinos are not exempt from it. No racial group is automatically protected from HIV solely because of the color of their skin. And I hope this clarified any misconceptions about that, because a lot of people tend to look at HIV with fear, but they also look at the preventatives as even more worrisome because, oh my God, you must be promiscuous if you're on PrEP. Girl, it's your body. Protect your health. But with that, I'm going to leave the conversation up to y'all because I don't want to continue to ramble. Have you been educated on PrEP? Have you heard about PrEP? Are you one of those people that believe you only need PrEP if you are promiscuous? Are you one of the people that believe you are more likely to catch HIV from a Black person or a Latino person? Because I don't understand why. Actually, I do. It's anti-Blackness. It's global anti-Blackness. There's literally a phrase in Spanish for to better the race by marrying light and having like white and biracial babies. So to see a Latino, I'm assuming he's Mexican, come over here and be anti-Black, meanwhile he is just as likely, if not more, to give and contract HIV, it's above me. But with that being said, I'll leave the conversation up to y'all, and I'll see you guys next time. Boop. And now for a brief yet sincere shout out to this week's Third Eye Tier subscribers, Caleb C. and Ryan S. Your continued support is greatly appreciated, and thank you once again to everyone who supports the channel. I genuinely appreciate it. I never thought I'd make it this far, low-key. And this week's slashing discussion is going to be, why does PrEP have a stigma? Of course, there's always going to be the stigma around HIV, but the fact that people have fear and hate towards a preventative confuses me. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely tune in.